Hi, good morning. It's Gene from maverickstar. Have you ever saved somebody's life? I've recently, in the last 12 months, saved one person's life twice. In fact, it wasn't just one person, it was 3 people. And I saved their lives, and I also saved that one person's life twice, and they didn't even know it. And we go back to looking at the Mandelbrot equation, that pictorial image that you can keep zooming in, and you start off with the same image and then you end up with that final image, which is where you started off from. But there is some intricate things along the way as you zoom in. You have to know what the Mandelbrot equation is, and you also have to experience just looking into the the pictorials of it to get where I'm to know where I'm coming from with this. This is going to be a difficult video for me because I'm trying to, just probably like you guys are out there, trying to find out what the hell all this is about. And some days we wake up with the answers. We know exactly where we are and what we're doing and what we're supposed to be progressing towards. But other days it's not that clear. And I should have the answers. I really should, because I think out of all of us, I've invested the most amount of time into all these things. We come back to the Mandelbrot equation, we come back to the universal equation, we come back to synchronicity of all these events that take place. And you've got a part in that Mandelbrot equation. You've got a part in that universal equation, you've got a part in the synchronicity of all the events that are going on, and they are from the macro to the micro. And sometimes you understand it, and sometimes you just don't, and you can't help knowing all this and then at the same time feeling human. I'm no angel. You're looking at the image of an angel, but I am by no means an angel. I'm just the same as every one of you out there, going through exactly the same things as what you're going through. And even if you've got pockets full of money, nothing is changed by the way people affect your course in life. And this person, I started off talking about, I saved their lives. There was 3 lives that would have definitely been gone before Christmas, and they're still here today because of the intervention of my being there. And again, the same person, one of those 3, through my intervention, they're still here today for another reason, and they don't even know it. And you ask yourself the question, is this my was this my course in life to do that? Because it feels really bad when there's no recognition of what you did, and there is not even a thank you. Why it even matters that you get a thank you anyhow, but it does for some reason. You would it's like you've got to do a job. Your part of life is mapped out and you're on that course. That's what you've been given. and you get, it's like there's no reward for the good work, not even a thank you. And you look at the map, the universal equation, the Mandelbrot equation, and the synchronicity, and you understand all that, and you have to accept the fact that there is no personal emotional gratitude or that goes with that. Those are the things I think that we are responsible for developing ourselves. The universe, I don't think, even understands it. It's like a raw program, and we abide by the raw program because we've got no choice. It's like we was talking about the other day, fate. We've got fate in our lives that we can't avoid, and if we try, we bend the elastic band, but inevitably it comes back to where it was meant to be originally. So we have no control over our destiny. We are heading from one point of view at light speed towards a direction, and from another point of view at the snail speed, really slow. But nevertheless, whichever your perspective is at that particular point in time is where you're heading. We're in the river is another example, and we can see that there are rapids approaching, and we're in the current of the river dragging us towards those rapids, and we don't want to go through them. We're holding on to the sides of the riverbank, clutching at the grass, and whatever tree we can manage to find a branch leaning over, but the tree snaps, the grass eventually, we pull out of the earth, and we're caught in that river, and we're dragged along with it. We've gone through something really big over the last 12 months, all of us has, and the damage to some aspects has not even been recorded and revealed to most of us. The amount of relationships that have broken down, and I understand why they broke down, is something that you're gonna, I believe, associate with. Some of these relationships that have broken down, marriages, long-term relationships, they're broken down because they was never tested before to this level. And a strong relationship will never break down, ever. The bond between two people is like solid foundations. You can't rock them. They're built on concrete, and there is rebarring that concrete that strengthens it. It is solid. You can't rock those foundations. But the marriages and the relationships that have broken down through COVID-19 were the ones that should have broken down in any case, and very likely would have done 5 years from now on. And you can look at that as terrible, atrocity, a catastrophe, when you look at the scale of this. But it's a godsend, because these relationships shouldn't have even been started off in the first place. And if this little tremor was the crack and the breakdown of the foundations which brought the building down, then it's a good thing. People should look at it as a good thing, because it was inevitably going to happen in any case. If you can't ride out the hard times in relationships, then that is testimony to the strength of your relationship that you've got right now. I told you guys, honestly and openly, about a lot of my personal views and predictions, and I said, at some point all this is coming into our living rooms, and it is starting to do that. And To try and connect this to the pole shift is really a task, even if it is. But what is the pole shift? What is the actual magnetic poles on our planet a symbology of? A change from off to on, from north to south, right to wrong. It has mentally affected all of us, COVID-19, and the damages that it's going to cause are even still to be seen. That is for sure. I think, when we emerge out of all this, we will look back and we will say to ourselves, we never expected that to even happen in a million years. And it did. And some of us will be beginning new beginnings with each, individual. They will be on their own path again, starting afresh. They may have come out of a relationship. It really has gone uncredited, the amount of relationships that have broken down during the pandemic. It's not just relationships. That is just one thing. It affected us in our personal homes. That was just one thing, but it affected everything across the scope, like a ripple on a pond, affecting everything. Business relationships will not be the same tomorrow as there was 12 months ago. Not just our personal relationships. Business relationships will not be the same. I witnessed it here on our observatory, the behavioural pattern of supporters for the observatory. Some of them became angry. I have seen the anger in the comments section directed towards me and a few other people. And I've also, alongside this, it's been a very it's been a massive experience for me to watch these things. Psychologically, I take a lot in. I don't know how awake a lot of you guys are out there, but I take a lot in, and I try and evaluate what brought that situation on. But I've seen it happen to YouTubers that have got channels similar to mine, only in the fact that they talk about some of the events, but I've seen them change their tactic in just 12 months. And the only reason for changing that tactic in the last 12 months was simply because of the circumstances that COVID-19 has brought along, and largely the legislation that has come in, like lockdowns, shutting down businesses, pretty much putting us in a solitary confinement. You can't go out, you can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to non-essential shops, you can't mix with people. All those things that were the fabric of natural human life were changed in a very short space of time, and for a period of time, which has caused damage. People don't realise it. It has caused a lot of mental and physical damage, and it's going to take some real time to get over that. I think it's been worse than a war in some circumstances, because even during wars, people still came together. The pubs was never shut in the UK during the Second World War, and the barring of people mixing was never part of the Second World War. So what has gone on this time is a mental shift, and it has gone on. We're starting to hear some of the implications of people that recovered from COVID-19. They've got long-term COVID problems. That is just the tip in the iceberg. The mental damage that has been caused to, the global population over this is going to take many, many years to get over. And we are still facing the pole shift. Sometimes, guys, I don't have the answers. I have some of the parts of the puzzle, and I try and present them in open conversations with you guys, just speaking from the heart. There it is. When we look on the scientific aspect of things to try and break these things down and understand them, we come to these conclusions or end avenues where we find the Mandelbrot equation or the universal equation, or the Bible or religion, or lots of other things that give us snippets of possible reasons for what we are observing in life. Synchronicity tells us that by any means, none of it was by accident. It was meant to happen. But why are we all here at this point in time while all these things are coinciding? And I don't believe that the volume that has recently been turned up in the last 20 years has reached an equilibrium point yet. I believe that the volume is going to continue to be turned up, so the magnitude and frequency of these events that we're all experiencing is going to carry on in the direction that it is already travelling. This is synchronicity again. When you're watching the bottle of water in sub-zero temperatures convert instantly at that critical moment from liquid to solid, and all the other synchronicity events that we could discuss again, like we have done in previous videos, it will return. There's a bit of a pause there, and I apologise for that, but just thinking about these things makes you just wonder. Have you noticed, by the way, guys, that our superstars have also been affected by all this? We don't know. I don't know what's going on with the data that is supposed to be coming from all these other countries where we've got our magnetometers, but like a switch, things have gone quiet. We've not heard nothing from Arizona for a while. Kendall, one of our superstars, is still on board, thank God for that, but things have gone quiet in Hong Kong, Perth, Australia, and on the Gold Coast. This is what I'm talking about. It's not just the lack of funding that we're getting right now for the observatory has dropped off. It's the change in direction of thought of people globally. We're in uncharted territory. We're on board this boat or ship, and we're sailing into uncharted waters right at this point. It could break the back of this observatory if we don't start getting some support, and I'm just hoping that we can emerge out of it, You know, if we can just continue to get a bit of support for the observatory, we can emerge out of this time and we can all look back and reflect on it together. Yeah, you know, we are, after all, approaching a critical point in the not too distant future, and we don't, you know, we're trying to work it out. You know, there are metaphysics going on here as well as just ordinary science. You know, we're trying to work out what is actually all this about, you know, and why is it all happening at this critical point in time. To give back some feedback to you guys and some answers, possibly. You know, I think we've got to some point where we've got, you know, a general understanding of all the things that are taking place. You know, we understand synchronicity is taking place. We know that the universal equation is by no means just a random equation that just comes from nowhere. There is absolutely no way that that is possible. You know, we try and describe it using the means of the Mandelbrot equation, and that those images that we see when we look into you know, the Mandelbrot, and this is science. You pull things apart and try and understand the little bits, and then hopefully when you put them back together you understand the bigger picture. Guys, enjoy your day and look after your loved ones, and there is a link down there if you want to help support the observatory, come through these uncharted waters. There is the link down there in the description, and that's really all there is to say. You know, let's test how strong our foundations are. As always, bye for now.